So, before I go into this review, I kind of want to have a little funny story as to how I got in possession of this little 90s crossover. If most of you guys know, I'm a purveyor of intercompany crossovers, and this was one of the things on my list. And, yeah. Yep. Got myself Wolverine Deathblow. Yeah, I'll get to the review itself, but as to how I came upon this is just, I find it kind of funny. You see, I visit my grandparents once a month for this big family get-together, for this family game night and whatever. And one night, about a week or so ago, as of this recording, I went there, and I go into the patio, and it turns out my grandfather had found a whole line of comics, had a whole long box full of comics in there, and yeah, he said, yeah, take what you want, and I ended up taking the whole thing. But here's the funny part. Since I was the last one there, since the last one I got there, it turned out my cousins had swarmed like vultures and took all the good stuff. And by good stuff, I mean like old Star Wars Dark Time comics, classic Avengers comics, X-Men comics that were very, yeah, I got left with all like the bad 90s comics, give or take a few things here and there. But yeah, I got left with a lot of bad stuff. Like shit that would just make you roll your eyes and go, oh god, 90s. Like, yeah, I literally got the they swooned over like vultures, and this was one of the things among them, among all the 90s comics. Oh lord, I don't know. Maybe I just find that funny personally. Anyway, so let's get into the actual review. Yeah. So this comic is pretty much a two-part crossover that came out in the 90s, but this is set in the 80s, where Wolverine and Deathblow are in Little Chinatown, San Francisco, and yeah, they take on ninjas and reality-warping demons. Kind of. But yeah, so this story is pretty much about Wolverine dating a new girl who has been kidnapped by a sacred clan of ninjas, but Wolverine gets wounded during the fight, and he comes across Deathblow, who takes him back to his home so he can heal up. See, here's the big thing about Deathblow in this comic. He feels like he just shows up. There's no real reason to really connect Deathblow and Wolverine, other than, oh, I'm just in town because I was looking for one guy, and they kind of have a plot for him, but they don't really go with it anywhere, because he was looking for Wolverine. He was supposed to be looking for someone, but then he found out that Wolverine knew the guy as well, but it turned out, yeah, that story doesn't go anywhere, and Deathblow just tags along. Now, this technically isn't the first time Logan and Deathblow had encountered one another. They technically met during a crossover revolving around Team X, which is Weapon X, before Wolverine and Sabretooth went AWOL on Weapon X, and Team 7, which is the team that Deathblow was a part of, as well as Cole Cash, Grifter, and a few other characters in the Wildstorm Image universe. So, in this comic, it pretty much revolves around Deathblow and Wolverine teaming up. The artwork is really good. I do like a lot of the artwork. The problem is that Wolverine's face, there's something up with Logan's face in this comic. It's really strange, because he has like these long wiry hair, and his nose is all flat, almost looks like a pig nose, and his eyes are kind of slanted. The face looks really bad, but the artwork is really good. In fact, there's an opening 2-page spread of Wolverine going down driving down the street to Chinatown in a motorcycle, and it's really good. There's some really great background art. Yeah, it's a nice little 2-part crossover. It's nothing overly spectacular. The story gets wrapped up, and in fact, it kind of makes you go, what the fuck? It deals with, like, ancient Chinese deities that can possess souls if they're revealed from a jar, and a lot of it revolves around Wolverine's kind of girlfriend in this story, which he ends up leaving anyway at the end of the story, because, yeah, it turns out that she was this being called the Librarian, or pretending to be, but Wolverine never asks, why were you the librarian, and why were you faking it all? Well, he never really goes into that. He just kind of leaves in a huff and drives out of San Francisco. Yeah. Like I said, Deathblow doesn't really do a lot in here other than be technically Wolverine's sidekick in this comic. He doesn't really do a lot in here other than shoot some people, have some witty dialogue. But yeah, it kind of this feels more like a Wolverine story than a Wolverine and Deathblow story. This honestly feels like Deathblow is the sidekick because he's just like, well, I did my part. I'm out. That's what it sadly feels like. It's not a bad comic. The artwork's pretty good, but some of the facial features just get really messy. Like I said with Wolverine, and like I said, this feels more like a Wolverine story than it's supposed to be a Wolverine and Deathblow's comic. But if you are a fan of Wolverine and/or Deathblow, you might like it. I don't know for Deathblow fans. I know there's several out there, but yeah, if you want to, from what I'm told. If you want to read a really good Deathblow comic, go read the Batman Deathblow comic by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo. I'm told that's supposed to be really good. In fact, I think that was their first. I think, if I remember right, that was their first collaboration between the two that led them to do that Joker graphic novel. Anyway, so you guys tell me if you've read the comic. What did you guys think of Wolverine Deathblow? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.